Okay, you ready?
Yes.
All right, I think we're ready. Everything's recording.
Yes.
Got my sound. We can hear each other. Lights good. Okay, good. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Ain't Gonna Be No Stupid. I am here with Harry Cordero, who is someone who found me on Facebook, but I knew him 20 years ago as another former student. So, Harry, I appreciate you finding me, and we have some funny stories to share about back in the day. I wanted to help. I want to have you do a better job of introducing yourself than I could ever do. So tell us more about yourself that I didn't let them know.
Wow. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's kind of cool that you do this. Lets me get on here and kind of tell my story. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Let's see. I'm gonna be 37 next week. College grad, but went to school way late in life. Um, Two French bulldogs, and music lover, and movie lover.
Love it.
So
Do you have
yeah,
any of your screenwriting with you today?
I do. I have it on my phone, so I can read a little bit to you.
Okay, cool. And you have your dogs near so they can make a cameo sometime later.
Yeah, I can grab them. Yeah,
All right, cool. I love those. They're bulldogs. No, they're French bulldogs, right?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, my favorite. I follow so many
yeah,
French bulldog Instagram. I get lost in a rabbit hole watching those French bulldogs.
for
So,
sure,
oh
for
my
sure.
gosh, so cool. All right, so I like to start with a stupid story, and I will tell you one that I don't think I told you before. I taught at Millikan High School in Long Beach, where I met Harry. You were a senior in my class, and I had just quit teaching, and I was teaching drama for the last 5 years of my 10 years there. And because of it, it was 6 shows a year. I was the producer, the director, and I was exhausted pretty much. I just was just done. I said, I'm quitting teaching. And I impulsively quit teaching. And I said, all right. At the time, I was kind of going into auditions I had a beeper. Remember the beepers? And I would get
Oh
like an
yeah,
audition call from my agent. And then in the middle of class, and then they would get me a sub because I taught drama. It wasn't a conflict of interest, they thought. So I would go on auditions in the middle of class, like go boom, boom. And I just was too much. So I said, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to go for it. So my friends and I started a theater company. We were reading a script in like somebody's garage just because we were, doing the actor thing. And Milliken called and they needed a long-term sub. And I was like, long-term sub. No, that means you got to plan and you got to grade. Normally you sub, you go home and you're good.
yeah.
So I did go and I went to the interview and of course they wanted me, of course. And then I ended up teaching stuff like government, economics, English, but I was not qualified. And that was the year I think it was George Bush and Gore were up for the election. And I remember showing a ton of Saturday Night Live to get through the government class because I didn't know what I was doing. So my stupid story is I quit teaching, and then I tried something else, and then teaching called me back. And then I came back to the Midwest, quit teaching again for 1 year, took a year off, and then now I'm back teaching again. So I guess it's just meant to be, or it was my fallback, which I think sometimes they say. I know Keenan Ivory Wayans said this. If you get a degree, don't get a degree because you'll fall back on it instead of doing what you're passionate about. Even though teaching is something I'm passionate about, it's true. I fell back on it. I fell back
Yeah.
on my degree. And I'm like, oh, sometimes I think I'm very grateful for what I've been through. I'm grateful for what I've done. But, this whole getting a degree in school and regrets and what we're supposed to do artistically. What do you have? I think your story is similar, no?
Yeah,
Similar.
pretty much. Graduated high school in 2002. Told myself I'm gonna go right into college, get it over with. Did about a year, and but I also had to get a job, and I kind of fell in love with the money. So I was like, I'm not learning anything in school anyway. I don't know what I want to do anyway. This is a waste of money. Let me work. So I got two jobs thinking that was going to solve all my problems.
What were your two jobs?
I worked retail, of course, and then I was a delivery driver for a paper company.
Wow. That's a lot of
Yeah,
hours.
for sure. And then for a young kid, that's money. you fall in love with kind of the dream, right? The money,
Mm-hmm.
being able to buy your own shoes, clothes,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And then I dropped out, and it was probably the biggest mistake
You
that
think you
I've
were you
done.
think you weren't ready at the time, maybe? Or was it really a mistake? Because now you say you went back later in life, right?
Yeah, I went back when I was 30,
Okay.
but that where I am now, as far as not having a job, I mean, there is the pandemic, of course,
Yes, yes.
but not there's a lot of people I know that have jobs because they did school and they've been able to ride the wave and kind of not get laid off or furloughed or
Mm,
whatever.
mm.
So I feel that that mistake, not sticking with school and getting a degree early, that put me in this bracket where I don't have a job.
So if you were going to be, it sounds like words of wisdom to the young to do it anyway, even though you don't want to do
Yes,
it, go get your
for
degree, just
sure.
get it, suck it up, do it, get it done, and then you'll have that to fall back on. That's good.
Yes,
Then it sounds like you mentioned you're unemployed now because of COVID. And would you
yes,
say that is your situationship that you want to speak about?
for sure. Yes, for sure.
How's
So
that?
after all of these going job to job, I found a job that I liked, was good at, was, climbing up the ladder, getting promoted, all that good stuff. And then COVID hit.
Oh,
So then, they furloughed me. And then a month later, they laid us all off.
and
So it's
you're,
just one of those things like finally I found something.
yes.
And here we are.
How long does unemployment last?
So it lasted about 13 weeks, and then they extended me again because of COVID another 13. So I have a feeling they'll extend it again, but I'm just one of those that wants to work. I
Yeah.
don't want to be at home all day. I want to work.
Right, right, right. I've been learning
I wanted to add, for the kids out there, school's very important. Like, to me, I feel I wouldn't be in this position if I would have stayed in school. I would be one of the lucky ones still working.
Mm,
I went back to school, as I mentioned, 2011 to 14, and got my TV and film degree, but I was already too old to do internships and work for free. And that's where I feel I messed up, is because at that age, I was 30 or however old I was, I couldn't afford to take free jobs and do free work. I had bills.
yep.
And if I would have done that early when I had no responsibility, I could have paid my dues and stayed the course.
I just heard that recently, to go where you want to be, knock on the door and say, "Can I please work for free and just get your expertise to teach me?"
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
such great advice, Harry. But somebody applied for unemployment under my name. Did I tell you that?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, this year I got notice from my employer that somebody applied for unemployment. I got the card, the credit card in the mail. Um,
Yeah.
I had to report it. And this is a piece of advice I like to give. If ever you want to avoid fraud, um, I freeze my credit. So all of my TransUnion and Novus, Experian, and
Oh.
what's the other one? You freeze them so that if someone does get your information, they can't go apply and buy a house with your name, or they can't go get a credit card in your name
Uh,
because it says, "Sorry, this account is frozen." So I was so grateful that I had already done that. And if ever I needed credit, I could still unfreeze it for 10 minutes or 30 minutes and then freeze it
got
again.
it.
So
That's
I
smart.
highly recommend that to everybody listening, to freeze your credit, because this fraud is running rampant. I cut up the credit card and I sent it back to them, because then I got a bill later that said, "You owe us $900 or something," whatever it was. And I'm like, "Oh yeah." And I sent back the credit card. I sent back. And so finally I talked to the person. They reached me, because you got to get a call back. You know how
Yeah.
hard it is to call the unemployment offices. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that's a fiasco, probably applying. Did you have any problem applying? Or was it
No, it
pretty
was
smooth?
easy. It
Okay,
was
good.
easy, pretty smooth. Yeah.
And it did run
Yeah.
out now?
At the end of January, it does.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You will get a job. We will get you a job for sure. We're
I
going to
hope
just
so.
speak that into existence. So, Harry,
Okay.
you said you have a funny story for me?
Yeah, I have a couple actually.
Okay.
I have a couple. One involves you and me when you were teaching at Millikan,
Uh-oh.
and the other one kind of shows us where the schools are at nowadays.
Okay.
So which one do you want first?
Probably the one that from when we were at Millikan.
Okay. So I remember it was probably halfway through the year, and we were writing a paper, and somebody needed help starting a paper. And you gave them this. You said, men are like parking spaces. All the good ones are taken, and the rest are handicapped.
Oh no.
And I laughed for like uncontrollably for hours because I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Oh no. You know what that reminds me of? That sounds like it's
What?
like I was speaking a prophetic word over my life or something, because it's
Maybe.
kind of been like a pattern. Wow.
But you also wanted us to start with a quote or something to draw us in, and I
Yes,
think that was the point of it.
yes,
So,
yes, yes. That just came out of my, yeah, I'm sure I didn't have that in the lesson plan. How embarrassing
oh,
that I
I'm
didn't do that. But that's funny. I'm glad you,
no, but it made me laugh, and I still think about it because I
yeah.
remember it like it was yesterday.
Well, I
You know?
remember that about you too, Harry. You were so fun to have in class. I remember how poetically you wrote and how
Thank you.
we connected through that. You had a really strong writer's
Yeah,
voice, which I believe that's why you are a screenwriter today, right? I mean, that's something
thank
that
you.
you, yeah, I think that's powerful. I just found this book too, and it was by accident. Did you ever read Save the Cat?
I haven't.
It's the only book you need. It says the last book on screenwriting you'll ever need by Blake Snyder. And of course, I bought
Huh.
it.
Okay.
I have a screenplay in mind as well. So um, who knows? I'll let you know how it is.
Very
Maybe
cool.
this makes me want to reread it. Or I don't think I ever
Yeah.
read it. I think I bought it. I'm one of those people that buys stuff. I'm like, then a bird flies by and I forget that I'm reading a
Yeah.
book.
For
I
sure.
can relate to my
Yeah.
students that way. All right. So you have another funny story.
Well, this is more of like how the schools are kind of failing kids nowadays. So I don't know if you want to come back to that.
Many people are saying that students are falling behind during this pandemic. But currently, I personally, as a teacher, high school students, of what I'm doing with my students, I don't think they're falling behind at all in this pandemic, based on my point of
Okay.
view as their teacher. However, I do believe in general, the system of schools is wrong in the way that they measure through, they use data and testing and all this left brain activity to prove how successful they are, when it's that whole metaphor. Why are you asking a fish to climb a tree when they can swim like crazy, but all you're doing is measuring
Hmm.
their ability to climb a tree? And that's been my
Yep.
argument as a student in the system. Of course, I learned to play the game later. Of course, my brain caught up with me, and it's, I did all right. But that is my biggest thing about how we fail students. And there's students that we're failing that are so disengaged, they have other trauma in their brain, that we as their teacher can't even help them. Just even a
Yeah.
counselor can't even help them. They need more support that isn't might not be in the 8 to 3 grind of a school day. So
Yeah.
that's another thing that I think that we fail students, because we don't reach everyone as much as we
For
say
sure.
we try. I don't think we're doing as best as we can with them. So
And that's the thing.
yeah.
You touched on how you don't see it like students failing, how things are going on now with the pandemic. That's true, because technology is kind of where it's at, right? People are going to learn like that. We're going to do meetings like that. But the thing that it's slowing the kids down to me is how they conversate with people and how they act in real life. Like
Oh,
when they go to the store, for sure, to me, this makes them more socially awkward because they don't have to talk to anybody they don't know,
yep,
right?
yep,
If they go to a party, they're going to be like, and they're going to be in the corner on their phone because they're so
yes.
used to this screen.
Well, that was before the
And
pandemic.
and true,
You know how you
but
look for
this
your,
makes it even for the youngins,
yes,
for sure.
yes. So what have you noticed then that that the funny part of that, is that the funny part? That they're
Yeah,
socially awkward?
so for sure, but also the other day I did a music video with my stepdad. He filmed it and I was the production assistant. And we had to have everybody sign releases. And there was a girl that was in the video that was 19 or 20, didn't know how to sign her name because they never taught that kind of writing in school the years that she was in school.
Yep.
To me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one of the things that I took from school that I use in real life.
Yeah.
You
Did
know
you
what I
learn
mean? Is
did you learn that in the class they teach you how to write checks, like a consumer ed class?
yes.
Is that where you learned it? I
Yep.
remember teaching
Yep.
students, like, my signature's gotten really messy, and I remember throwing that
Yep.
on the board once in a while. Here, sign
For
your
sure.
name, but make
Yep.
it messy so nobody can forge it.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
And I thought that was the craziest thing because there's not much you take from school, right? You take the little basic math, the English for sure, but signing how to write, in cursive is the thing everybody uses
Yeah.
afterwards. I mean, nobody really writes checks anymore, right? But
Mhm.
just signing your name,
There's an online hustle for you, Harry. Start a cursive writing school.
I should.
They stopped,
Nobody would go.
no,
I
Harry, they
know.
stopped teaching cursive. You know that, right?
I know.
Just like,
I,
yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, they stopped teaching grammar too. It was a whole language approach. Now we're getting those kids. So it's tough, man. It is tough.
It
Oh
is.
boy, that is tough. So
And
now you know
I
what you
just
can
I couldn't wrap my head around it. It was crazy.
well know what you can do when you like rub elbows with people like everywhere you go. Just say, hey, teach them little things like this, because you know how you learn stuff from people like you, just wisdom from adults that aren't in your family, but you just learn it from them. I think
Mhm.
that's cool. Like that could be some of your mission, is just to like go help people get woke.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, I wish, yeah,
I don't know,
I'd
but
be
I
down
want
for
to.
that.
So, do you want to talk about anything to do with your screenwriting before we get into this exercise? Harry has given me permission to try to do an exercise with him to help explore his values to get more clarity, so he can find the job that's more suited to his liking, not just any old job. So,
Yeah,
do you want to read any of your scripts or your
sure.
an excerpt?
So let's do a little backstory. So I
Yes.
decided to go back to school in 2011 to get my degree, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I kind of stumbled on a television and film introduction class, which led me into screenwriting, and so I graduated with TV and film degree, and so I started screenwriting. Stopped because I needed a job, but I would do it here and there. So I have a little bit. It's on my phone though, so I'm gonna grab my phone
No problem.
and
I
read
can
it. So
text.
this is for a little setup here. This is I think that I want this to be a TV show. So it's a guy named Landry and his girlfriend Samantha. So it starts in a suburban house. Landry, a 30-year-old male, slightly overweight, stands in front of the mirror getting ready to meet his girlfriend Samantha for dinner. Samantha's in her 20s, a fashion designer for a local clothing brand and a recent patient of a superb boot camp clinic where she lost 50 pounds. Text message gets sent to Landry's phone. Landry picks up the phone from the counter, quickly unlocks it. It reads, "On my way." Cut to a close up to the cell phone. Landry quickly responds, "Can't wait to see you." Samantha pulls into the driveway of Landry's house. Samantha grabs her phone from the center console and texts, "Here, baby." But unlike last time, there was no response. Sam is waiting for a good 10 minutes. The front door opens. Landry walks out. "Land," Samantha says, "Land, I've been waiting for you out here for like 10 minutes. You didn't get my text?" "Sorry, Sam, I didn't hear my phone. It was in my pocket." "Didn't hear it? You always have you always have your phone within arm's reach." Landry says, "No, you know that's not true." Landry opens the passenger door, starts to get in. Samantha says, "You're driving," and throws the keys to him. Landry goes, "Okay, where am I going?" Sam says, "It's my cheat day, so what's the worst thing I can possibly have?" And Landry says, "Pizza." Sam says, "Sounds good to me."
Oh man,
That's just a
you
that's just
can
a quick
tell
thing
you have gone to school for that. That is brilliant. The way that it just reads just like a screenplay.
for sure.
Do you also know then how to pitch something to like the treatment to if you're
Yeah.
one of the executives, they teach you how to do that?
Hmm. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
inspiring me. This is good stuff, Harry. Holy cow.
So how I want to go with that is people are faced with temptation all the time. So this is going to be like all the stuff that Landry gets himself into, whether it's on purpose or not, it's just temptation. He has
Mm,
a really good girlfriend, but he's going to run into these things. And I kind of wanted to make a series out of it. Just even not necessarily just men, but
yep,
people in general.
yep, yep.
I love the temptation point of it because
Oh, that's
it's all around us.
oh, it's real. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's a
Yeah.
perfect segue then into what we're going to do. We're going to do an exercise in finding out your values, Harry. And in doing
Okay.
so, I'm going to ask you some random questions. We're going to talk about it. And this is like a sample, like life coaching session. And I'll tell you, I'll walk you through it. There's about 3 steps to it.
Okay.
So keep your phone handy because I'm gonna have to text you the picture, and we're gonna
Okay.
evaluate the picture once we're done. So it's a wheel,
Okay.
just like this, as you
Okay.
can see here. It's 8. It's like a pizza. Oh,
Okay.
you couldn't have set that up
See?
any better. Couldn't have set that
I
up any
know.
better.
See?
All right, now I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and as you talk, I'm going to take notes, and then I'm going to ask you more questions, and then you can push back what I ask. If I evaluate, please say no if it's wrong, and all that. So let's go with the
Okay.
first question. If you could be an animal in the animal kingdom, any animal at all, which would you be and why?
Polar bear. And I'd be a polar bear because I love the cold. I love, how they take care of their kids. Even though I don't want kids, I love the whole nurturing kind of like that. But definitely the cold weather and the nurturing for
Why
sure.
do you like cold weather?
I don't know. I've always liked it. I just feel more comfortable. I always thought you can always put more clothes on if you're cold. You can't take clothes off if you're hot.
It's funny. I also like winter. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is because I think I like the way it's insulating or
Yes.
no pressure to go to the party or no
Yep.
pressure to do stuff, but just
Exactly.
like, sorry, it's winter, it's cold, and I need to be alone,
Yeah.
which is what I thrive on, right? Um,
Yeah.
so would you say that you value nurturing, like nurturing
For sure.
others? Okay, I'm gonna
Yes.
write that down then as one of your values. I want to find one more here with the cold. But you wrote the word comfy. I
Mhm.
wrote the word comfy, comfortable. Do you find then, do you also value being comfortable?
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's clothes, atmosphere,
Yeah.
if anytime that somebody invites me somewhere and I get like a bad vibe, even before I get there, I'll go, yo, like, like I'm just not feeling this.
Good. Good. You listen to your
Yeah.
gut. Okay, let me ask you then another question. We got 2 values out of that question. If Are you a big superhero? Do you watch a lot of those superhero movies or anything like
Yes.
that? Okay. If you could
Yes.
be any superhero in either Marvel or what's the other one? D- D-
DC.
DC.
Yeah.
Which one would you be and why?
It's a tie between Batman and the Hulk.
Okay, talk more
Because
about that.
I like the Hulk because he can get angry, do his thing, but then go back to being human, and then everybody kind of forgets that he was angry. He can just like get angry, vent, do what he needs to do, and he's back, right?
Hmm.
So that always interested me. And then Batman, of course, because he has all the cool, technology. He's, the rich kind of playboy guy. That's always been kind of cool to me too.
Awesome. So you say that you like the Hulk because he's angry and he does his thing. He gets angry, but then he can turn back to be human again. And then
Yeah.
and people forget it. He can vent and he can totally. They forget that he was angry. And then you like
Yeah.
Batman because he's cool tech guy. He's rich and he's a playboy.
Yeah.
So, in the description there, I want to ask you, do you value emotional expression or freedom to say your truth? Or do you value like no judgment? Freedom. I guess freedom. Wouldn't that be freedom to be able to, I don't know. I'm
Yes.
just playing with like values right now. Which one of those resonated for you? Or could you help me out? Something
I
about
think the, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
or authenticity, because he's angry. He lets you know he's
Mhm.
angry. He goes back, he forgets, like he just goes back to like, okay, the fact that you
Yeah,
can handle my anger shows me that you love me. So that means, I don't know if that shows you that you love me, because I personally don't like being around a bunch of angry people that vent a
for
lot.
sure.
But I guess I'm just thinking as a human that wants to be able to just be like real. Let me just be angry right now, right? I mean, I guess help me out.
Yeah.
What's the values that are popping out for you there?
Because if most people that I know are passive and they
There you
hold
go.
it in,
There you go.
they hold it in, they just let things go. And that's not, to me, that's not healthy. That was one of the things my mom had always taught me is we need to talk about things. Whether you're angry, you're hurt, it's okay to cry, all that stuff.
Love it. That's called communication then. You value
For
communication?
sure.
Okay,
For
I'm going to
sure.
write that down as a value. Yes, communication. When you
And that
said
was one
something,
of the things she taught me
that's
was
great.
express yourself, because you're
Very
not
good.
going to get anything without expressing yourself.
Absolutely, because then you're not authentic and you're living a lie pretty much.
Yeah.
So then authenticity keeps popping off the page for me, but tell me if that's not that's not the right word. Do you value
No,
being authentic, being real?
yeah, absolutely.
Can I write that down as a
Absolutely.
value
Because,
then?
yeah,
Because
just
that's
for
what
the
you,
fact people aren't themselves, right? They feel like they need to be a certain way because society or whoever, right, wants them to be a certain way. You just need to be yourself.
love that. Isn't it ironic too? Like we wear masks, but now in 2020, we're literally wearing masks.
For sure.
But people are wearing masks all the time, which is really unfortunate, right? Authenticity is huge for me too, but it's not about me right now. So I've so far have you value nurturing others, comfortable, you value communication, you value authenticity. Can I also say you value money because you said rich playboy? Or
Yeah.
is there romance also something you value because you said playboy? Or is it the pursuit,
Yeah.
the hunt that you value?
It's more, so it is the money and not necessarily being rich, but being comfortable,
Okay, that goes with, okay, I
right?
put
I
it,
just
now I
want,
put it separate. I put comfortable up here as a value in terms of how you feel in general. Like I would think
mhm,
peace and that sort of thing, but then money makes you feel peace or comfortable for sure, gives you security.
yep,
So would I
yep,
would I put down money or would I put down security? What is the value?
security,
Okay, let me cross out money. I'm just
security,
going to put security above money. And we know that that means also money. The
yep.
Playboy part you mentioned, is it more of the je ne sais quoi? Is it more of the pursuit? Is it the romance about being a Playboy? Is it, what is it that,
It's the romance,
so
romance.
let me put that down.
Yeah,
You value romance. Isn't that
yes,
would be accurate, wouldn't it? Okay, that's
yes.
only 2 questions and we've got 6 values already. So let me ask you one more question. If, okay, you're at your 100-year birthday party and all your loved ones and friends and coworkers are at your party, what are they saying about Harry Cordero?
Ooh. Um, just about my character or in general?
You name it, you name
Anything.
it. Just
Um,
have fun with it like you're a screenwriter.
oh wow. Okay. So they would say that I'm detail oriented for sure. OCD, probably to the day I die. Um, loving, caring, responsible, little bit not angry, but that doesn't let things go and very vocal. Um, care about how he looks as far as dressing and getting a haircut and all that stuff. Let's see what else. Yeah, and giving, very giving.
Wow, this is good. I'm trying not to overlap with the ones that you had. So you have nurturing others, which kind of falls into the loving and caring, which I
Yes.
could add. I could add to that as well. And then I have comfortable, communication, authenticity, security, romance. And you mentioned detail oriented. Do you value organization?
Yes.
I see that.
Yes.
That's cool. And then I'm not judging your values. I'm just saying because
No, no, I
I'm
know.
not naturally organized. I think that's why I said that. Um, let's see. You said you're detail oriented, OCD to the day you die. You're loving and caring.
For
You're
sure.
responsible. You're angry. You're vocal. You care about your looks and haircut, and you're giving. Would you say of that list that responsibility would fall over like how you present yourself, like your
Yes.
looks and haircut? Would you say responsibility ranks higher than the way you present yourself? Because
Yes.
the way
For
you
sure.
present yourself could also be that could fall under authenticity, right? All
Yes.
right. This is good. Okay, we got a wheel. We got a wheel of 8 values. Now these could change in and out of your life, and you can also do it for priorities. So list 8
Okay.
priorities and do the exercise as well. It just helps to have somebody kind of walk you through it. So I'm going to now ask you to rank these, each of the 8, 1 to 10. And I'm going to say 10 would be up here and 0 would be here in the center. So if I ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being highest, how are you currently living in terms of nurturing others and loving them? 10 being highest, 1 being, where are you currently living that value?
Where I'm currently living, probably about a
Instead of
six,
texting it to you.
5 or 6.
Okay. So pretty much, I'm going to have you think about this while I
Okay.
color. And I'm going to actually take a picture and I'll
Okay.
send it to you. And I want you just to contemplate which one area, if you could move it 1 point further to 10, would have the most effect on all other areas of the wheel. So you should be getting the text.
Security, for sure.
Okay, so let's say that where this is the last step now, you're going to move security 1 point further. And what would security give to you once you have security? What would that do for you?
That would lead to me being comfortable and relaxed. It's because I'm not working. There's no security of if I'm going to be able to keep where I live,
Mhm.
so on and so on. Keep surviving.
Hmm.
Security to me makes me comfortable, makes me relaxed.
Yes. So let's say 1, 2, 3, action plan. This is a final step.
Okay.
What is one thing you're going to do in the next 2 weeks that will make you feel more secure?
Man, um, finding a career, a job that I like,
So would you
you
say
know,
actively look for a job?
yes, and get back to screenwriting.
Okay. And what does that looking for a job look like specifically?
I mean, keep doing what I'm doing. I'm interviewing, and I'm talking with people. It just doesn't work out. So maybe the plan's bigger. Maybe the right job hasn't come across yet.
Yep.
And maybe it's preparing me,
Yep.
all these interviews for the next step. I just
It's like
have to patiently wait.
you have a recruiter and everything? Is that what you work through?
No,
Oh,
no, I'm just looking on Indeed and
okay.
going through the motions.
So then you're going to look on specific websites for the job
Yeah,
that you're looking for.
yeah.
All right. What else are you going to do to bring security?
Go back to the basics, like just can continue to do what I love, like my hobbies, the screenwriting, all that stuff. Get back to doing that. It always made me happy. I just had to kind of put it on the back burner because, you have to grow up and you have to find a job that pays the bills and. So get back to the basics.
Okay, so you're going to actively look for a job. You're going to screenwrite because that feeds your soul. And
Yes.
what's another back to the basic you could be doing?
Um, I mean, writing in general. Like I haven't written something in a while. So whether it's a short story, screenwriting, music, just write.
And then when you do write, do you then let people see what you write, or how do you get that out there?
Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes.
Okay. So then what time of day are you going to be writing every day?
The morning.
What time?
Oh, time, actual time, like 9, 10 a.m.
Till when?
As long as I can, as long as, until I get hit a wall or hit a block.
Well, there's a Pomodoro technique. They call it like 20, write for 20, take a break, write for 20, take a break,
Oh
write for
yeah.
20, take a break. Even if you just did like an hour a day, is that too lofty of a goal? Because you can go farther
No,
than an
that's
hour a day,
perfect.
right? You can definitely go
Yeah.
far. And then how
Yeah.
much time are you going to be actively looking for a job?
All day. I mean, I spend hours. I look for about an hour, 2 hours,
Okay.
take a break, see if there's anything new,
Yeah.
and come back.
Well, Harry, this is a great. So then I'm going to send you a little action plan then, just to make sure you feel more secure as you're going to be, just as you've been doing, actively looking for a job at least an hour a day. And then you're actively going to write for an hour a day. Like you said, back to the basic, because that feeds your soul. And when you feed your soul,
Yep.
you're probably more attracted to people that want to hire you as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So yes, I'm definitely going to be in your corner with this. So if you could just say an I am statement when we're just to close the session, just I am secure, or I am, you finish the statement in terms of when you have all of these things, you are what?
I am unfinished.
Ooh. So you're on a journey.
Yes.
And this is what we titled the episode is ain't gonna let life win, right?
Exactly. Correct.
Okay. Okay. And that's what do you mean by
Yes.
that?
Life is rough. Life is really hard. It kicks you when you're down, never helps you up. But
Mm,
if as long as you keep moving forward and you're kind, and things are going to happen for you.
that's
Whether
good.
it's later when you're 40, it could happen early. You just got to stay the course.
And even when it
Stay the
happens,
course.
yeah. And
Yeah.
even when whatever that is that you dream of happens, it seems like there's always some other something to have to find to chase after,
Yep.
right? Kind of like
Yep.
Batman.
Yep. And the temptation, like I
Ooh,
talked about,
you're right. So then are you saying that temptation kind of makes you veer off course a little bit when it comes to
for sure.
the security? So maybe put that on your
Yep.
action plan. Um, uh, Look at the temptations in your life and see if you can maybe work on putting them at bay. I'm going to write that
Yeah.
down. Why not? You decide which temptations, because there's many, right?
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. Well, good. Well, there's a sample session of what would happen if you would just go through, and then I would hold you accountable. And I'll still do that for you, is hold you accountable and see
For
how
sure.
things are going. And if I think of anything that I could, you know, help you with anything, I'd be happy to do that as well. So let's end with some rapid fire questions. That's okay.
Perfect. Let's
All
go.
right. This sounds like a cuss word when I say it, but I'm going to say it clearly. What is one thing on your bucket list that you haven't done yet?
Um, Travel outside of United States.
Ah,
I want to see Italy and Europe and all that stuff. Yeah.
yes. Um, Not to bring 2020 into it, because we probably shouldn't give it so much energy. But what is one thing you really hate about 2020?
Just how much it put everybody, not just me, into this situation, and people out of work. It just felt like, we talked about life knocking you down. This feels like life knocking you down and then sitting on you, right?
Mm,
It's not letting us get up. it just feels like 2020 is the bully, and we're the little nerd kids sitting on the floor with our underwear pulled up.
Yeah, that's such a poetic way of saying it. Is there anything you love about 2020?
It made me, because I had to be quarantined, or I had to be at home and nothing's open. It's forcing me to get better, mental health wise, like sharpening my mind, reading, trying to do things that I wouldn't necessarily do.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah. Give me a favorite summer activity. I know you said you hate the heat. Maybe we should make that a winter activity. If you could go
Yeah.
places.
Okay. Um, Snowboarding for winter. I love snowboarding.
Whoa, I've never learned to snowboard. That's great.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
summer, golf, tennis, any of those things.
Those are
I
my
like both of
sports.
those.
The final rapid fire question is, what's the best thing you've purchased in your life under $100?
Ooh. Let's see. Best thing under 100. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I don't know
All
that
right.
one.
All right. Because I was going to say under 1,000, then aren't your dogs probably a lot of money? Don't those French bulldogs cost a little penny?
Yeah,
That's probably
they're
your
a
best.
lot for
It's
sure.
probably your best purchase, don't you think?
Yeah, well, the older one I got for free, and then the second one, yeah. So the second one was about $2,000. So yeah,
Can we meet one of them?
yeah, of course. Which one?
Okay.
Want the older one?
Whoever wants to come and say
I'll,
hi.
I'll go grab them.
Okay, cool. Is this the older one?
Yes.
Oh, I love his sound. Oh, he's precious.
Sounds like me. See, look, look,
At the end
look.
credits. Oh my goodness. I gotta screenshot this. At the end credits, I have a picture of you and him doing just what you're doing right now.
And then we can put his hood on when he's cold.
Oh my goodness. This is precious.
Right, baby?
What is that? And he's spoiled.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Harry.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing your life with us. This has been such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me, and Yankee
Yes,
here.
Harry. Wait, I hear my dog too. Do you want to meet Dookie?
Yes, of course.
Okay. This
Oh,
is my
look at
baby. He made a cameo at another podcast as well.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll have to. Sorry, buddy.
How old is he?
15, almost 16 in February.
Ooh.
I know it's
Wow.
the longest relationship of my life. So
It's a perfect one, though. I like
it
it.
is. It really is. And talk about feeding the nurturing needs, right? If you just want to be
Yeah.
nurtures others, then this is a good
Yep.
thing to get. I always told one time I told a girl when she was writing an essay on teen pregnancy, I said,
Mhm.
"Oh, you should title it Get a Puppy."
There it
Because
is.
then it's like,
Yep.
you want a baby to something to love and take care of. Well, wait, why don't you try this instead?
Yeah, and see
So,
if, yeah, for sure. See if you
yeah,
really want a baby after you have a puppy.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, well, good. I think we got enough, right? We got what we wanted.
Yeah.
I'll send you the back of this, a little action plan, and I'm not going to be hounding you and all that. So, how you doing with the job search? How you doing with screenplay?
Yeah.
I won't be doing that to you or anything. But reach out if you want anything.
For sure. And I want you to read some of my stuff.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Once I finish, and
Yeah, it's so impressive how you do that. Do you have a software that you use to create?
yeah, I just signed up for this thing called Celtics, which is what we used in school, and it's CELT and then X, Celtics, and it formats it for you. So it's pretty cool.
Yes,
Pretty cool.
very cool. I actually wrote a play last year about teaching, and I thought it would be cool to do a live show where people in the audience are logging in to your quizzes or your Kahoot or all your games, right? And it's
Yeah.
live, and every day, every time it's improv, and whatever the audience gives you, you just play it. And I could easily play that part.
Yeah.
But I literally wrote it live while I was doing final exams. It was the week of final exams, and everything that ever happened. And I wrote it, and I even brought home extra like piles of like papers that kids turned in when they turn stuff in on paper,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
have them there. I have my box of props ready to go even for the show, but I don't know if I'll have the energy to do a one-woman show or anything, but that's just something I was thinking about doing.
That'd be fun. I
Yeah,
think you could do it.
I gotta look this up. This is great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ah, well, thank you, Harry. It was so good connecting with you. I would love to
Thank you
read
for
more of your
having me.
stuff. Yeah. All right. So we'll be in
Perfect.
touch.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.